Next, I'd like to introduce our commencement speaker, Mr. Sam Crowley. Mr. Sam Crowley is a speaker, author, trainer, podcast host, and serial entrepreneur. Mr. Crowley is also a 1986 graduate of Bradford Area High School. While at Bradford High, he played basketball and also Legion baseball. He was involved in a number of activities, including Key Club, prom and homecoming committees, and student government, where he served as his junior class president and also as student council president during his senior year. As a podcast host, Sam's motivational podcast, Every Day is Saturday, is heard in over 100 countries with over 10 million downloads since going live in 2006. Sam left his Fortune 100 job many years ago because his oldest daughter, Madeline, used to ask him, "Daddy, is tomorrow Saturday?" He made a promise to his daughter that someday soon, every day would be Saturday, hence the creation of his global brand. Sam's most recent book, titled One More Breath, was published in 2016. The book chronicles the journey of his daughter Susan, born at just 1 pound in August 2014, and how she's defied all odds to be at home with her family after 220 days in Children's Hospital. Sam lives in Cincinnati, Ohio with his wife of 19 years, Angela, and their 4 daughters, Madeline, Laura, Paige, and Susan. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Crowley back to Bradford Area High School.
Okay, wow. I don't know who had odds on a couple of things, whether I'd stay married 19 years or I'd actually be the commencement speaker at some point in time at Bradford High School. Those of you that know me know how awesome that is, both of those, and I don't take it lightly. Thank you, David. I appreciate you having me back, the class of 2017. The parents, the students, the faculty, it's just amazing. I thought for a minute about actually writing a speech, and then again, if you know me, you know that probably isn't a possibility because I can't stay focused for more than about 3 seconds. So I thought, in the spirit of authenticity, which I would encourage all the graduates this evening to do as you embark on whatever journey it is, whether you're going off to a higher education, service to our country, a trade, whatever that is, to be authentic. Because at the end of the day, that's all you have. I remember being in this same assembly hall in the auditorium in 1986, the day before graduation, and the lead faculty member of student council declared this was the worst student council in the history of Bradford High. And I thought it was awesome until I realized I was actually the student council president and thought, gee, that joke's not so funny right now. So I want to apologize to everybody back in 1986 for running the worst student council in the history of Bradford High. Quite an honor to have, quite an honor to be here. And I also remember the next day being at graduation, just like our graduates here. You all look so beautiful, put together. And I thought, boy, when's that speaker going to be done? Because the only thing standing between me and getting my diploma is this guy that's up there bloviating for a bunch of time. So don't think for a minute that I'm not keenly aware that the only thing standing between you and your diploma is me, okay? So I will make this very short. But hey, look, in the spirit of authenticity, I want to just share my personal story with you, as short as it is, to inspire you to go off and do whatever it is that you want to do. I've seen so many people already that I know from back in the day. They have graduating children tonight. They have children that have already graduated. And the first thought is, damn, you're old. You're old. I have a 16-year-old daughter who's going to be graduating in a couple of years myself. 4 daughters, as David mentioned, Madeline, Laura, Paige, and our baby Susan, who's our miracle baby. She was born at 1 pound. My wife delivered her at 24 weeks 3 years ago. And she, through the just amazing technology at Children's Hospital, where they perform 50% of the airway surgeries all around the world, happens to be in our backyard. And we were fortunate enough for that. And when Susan was born, she was given about 2 hours to live. That's about it. They said, why don't you stick around, Dad? We've got everything prepared, and you can say goodbye to your daughter. That was it. But my wife and I didn't take that for an answer, because that's not how my mom, the great Catherine Crowley of 9 Elm Street, raised me. And those of you that know my mom know she's a tough old bird. And if you saw her in tops or you saw her walking around, she had no problem telling you what it is. And I took that with me as well, and I told the doctors, no, that's probably not going to happen. We're going to stand on our faith, and Susan's going to make it. 2 hours turned to 4 hours, which turned to 8 hours, which turned to 2 days. And we got that dreaded phone call that no parent wants at the second day that said, why don't you come on down and say goodbye to your daughter? And we did. We went down and we said hello to our daughter. Just like every single one of you graduates here, if I could just give you a pill to take that says when you go out into the world, you're going to face adversity. You will go into the valley. There is no doubt it's going to happen. But it's the mountaintop. It's where you end up that's the most important. And I promise you, if you just pass through the valley, you will end up at the mountaintop. Does that make sense? You will not stay there. You will get hit with adversity. You might be like myself and not make it through college, okay? You might get a bad grade. Student loans mount up. You may go into the service in your trade and things don't exactly look the way you thought they were going to look. But let me tell you, that is not the end of the story. And when we were told that go down to say goodbye to your daughter, we went down to say hello to our daughter and welcome her back. And she made it. And she made it a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. She got trached after her 4th month, which means she got a tube put in her trachea to breathe. And all we kept saying was, just take one more breath, Susan. Just take one more breath. Because growing up on 9 Elm Street and being part of the Bradford community, quite honestly, graduates, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to just take one more breath. Those moments that I wasn't playing basketball at Callahan Park or baseball out at Pitt Field, it was a little bit lonely, being the youngest of 8 children. My dad left my mom to raise all 8 of us by herself in 1968 when I was only 3 months old. And you don't get to vote, what happens. You don't get to pick your parents. Here's news, you don't get to pick your boss either, okay? So all this stuff, I don't want to be a downer tonight, okay? But some of these things are going to happen. But my mom did not get dealt the greatest hand in life. But I found out really quick that if you surround yourself with a few people who will lift you up, who will hold you accountable to doing better, to being different. It's great to be different. Let me tell you, there's going to be haters out there. Do you understand that? There's going to be people who want to take you out, but that's not a reflection of you. That's a reflection of them. And life isn't lived on Snapchat. I'm sorry. Life isn't lived on Instagram. I'm sorry. The spam accounts with 1,000 likes are cool when you're a senior. It's not so cool when you're out there in the real world. Communication is currency. Does that make sense? The ability to communicate. When you go for that first job, when you build that first business, when you go for your first loan for your business or your home, you need to be able to communicate in more than 140 characters. There's more than just a Snapchat happening out there. You speak to your loan officer, they want more than just a selfie, okay? And I'm just telling it like it is because it's in the spirit of authenticity. And with our daughter, when she got that trach tube, we knew that we had passed through the valley. And man, I'll tell you, she came home after 221 days to join my older 3 daughters and my wife and I on a ventilator, fighting for one more breath. The journey wasn't over, but we knew we made it through the valley. And you're going to be faced with those same exact challenges. And here's the question that you need to ask yourself. Are you ready? Do you want your problems to go away, or do you want to grow larger than your problems? I chose the latter at almost every single turn. Not perfect. Life's not looking for perfect. Life loves imperfect. The marketplace rewards imperfection. Meaning, you bring your authenticity and you add value to the marketplace, you will be compensated in whatever you choose to do. But the greatest failure in life is to be a sellout, to follow the herd, to do what everybody else is doing. Can I tell you how many friends I still have? Okay, from many years ago when I decided to go for it, to launch a podcast that's downloaded over 10 million times, I took, sure, mocked, ridiculed, made fun of, absolutely, but I know I wanted one thing, and that was to be a dad. That's all I wanted to be. That's all I ever wanted to be. The only thing, when my dad left in 1968, for my mom to raise eight of us by herself, the only thing I was ever focused on was being a dad. This wedding ring means everything to me. That's the commitment. It's a promise that you make to yourself. My father passed away 2 weeks ago. I met the guy twice actually. The first time in 2012, I looked him up, and I went to Annapolis, Maryland to meet him. My mom died in 1997 up here on 12 Emory Avenue, right above the hospital, having a cigarette like she did every single day. She died of a heart attack at the age of 69. She was the rock of our family. It crushed me because she got me through. Her and the entire Bradford community got me through some really tough times. And I went to see my dad just to forgive him, just to say, I forgive you. Because when you hold that poison inside of your heart, it's not the other person that ends up losing. It's you that ends up losing. You're the one that's drinking poison waiting for the other person to die. And that's not a healthy way to go through life. And I got rid of all of these, and it was very challenging to do. All of these things that I talk about now, it didn't happen at the age of 18. At the age of 17, I was sitting out in an audience just like you were, thinking I had all the answers. I'm going to go rock it out in the world. Here we go. College dropout. Here we go. But it was just a ballad. That's all it was. Back up the mountaintop. Moved to Buffalo, New York. Connected with a friend from Bradford. That's all it took, a friend from Bradford. It was always a friend from Bradford that was looking out for me. It was everybody here that helped raise me. Little Sammy Crowley, 9 Elm Street. I would have dinner at their house. I would go with their family at different events. I would sit on their porch up on South Avenue. It was always that. And when our daughter came home on the ventilator with all those tubes connected to her, it was a state of gratitude. Now she's off the ventilator. She'll be 27 pounds. That's what she weighs now. She'll be 3 years old in August. And that's the power. That's the miracle. That's what happens when you stay up and don't allow yourself to be dragged down. There's a lot of people and a lot of circumstances that are going to try to drag you down. Here's my last plea for you. And some of you are saying, this is awesome. He's done. This is great. Don't follow the herd. No matter how much you want, don't follow the herd. Blaze your own trail. Take that mess that you perceive right now. I'm an ex-stutterer. Those of you that know me back in the day, you know me. I used to hop up and down on one leg trying to talk. I couldn't get a sentence out of my mouth. I used to call a buddy and hang up the phone because I couldn't get the name out. Just shared the stage with Tony Robbins up in Toronto a couple of months ago. I've traveled to Australia, the UK, all over North and South America. Sam from Bradford? And I always bring up Bradford. And everybody's like, where the hell's Bradford? I said, it's the home of Zippo lighters, baby. Case knives, Kendall motor oil. You got to get you some. Get yourself to McKean County. And people in Sydney and Australia are like, this guy's out of his mind. I ain't going to no McKean County. I always bring Bradford, Pennsylvania with me, wherever I go, whatever stage I speak on. On my podcast, I mention it all the time, all over social media. I'm so proud of the community that raised me. And I would encourage you as well. Take a breath. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy the next few nights. And understand your best days, they haven't even happened yet. And take one more breath. Thank you, class of 2017.